Hey, hello there. How you doing? Thank you very much for continuing to watch me bloody videos on the YouTubes. Sorry, I was distracted there because I think Bonjour's gone outside. Bonjour's my cat. For those of you who aren't in the know. Anyway, it's the second video I've done today, only because I quite enjoy it, and also because I ask people to put comments and stuff on the videos I've done so far. And I've got a comment here on one of my last videos from somebody called Jack Chambo. Hope that's pronounced correctly, Jack. Would be cool if you had reviews of new bands, EPs, stroke albums. Always fun finding new bands. It is always fun finding new bands. It's one of the great things about music is discovering a new thing. And I feel like 2015 has been a brilliant year for music so far. I think it's been a great year. I thought last year was good. 2013 was great. I thought we wouldn't have as good a year as 2013 for a long time. But I think at the moment we're on course for as good a year. So far, most of the things that have been the more high-profile releases have been releases from the bigger bands, the more established bands. And the one thing about last year that I think has just sort of trumped this year so far is in terms of debut albums. There's a lot of high-profile debut albums that came out last year. You think Caleb Shomo from Attack Attack did Beartooth. That ended up being quite good. We had the super group Killer Be Killed, who sort of part Dillinger Escape Plan, part Soulfly, part Mastodon, part Mars Volta. That was brilliant, obviously. We had Devil You Know with Howard Jones, the Welshest man in metalcore, formerly of Killswitch Engage. His comeback, which was decent. We have Marmoset's, probably the best debut album, not even probably, definitely the best debut album of last year was the Marmoset's album out on Roadrunner. And we had what else? King 810, that was a big deal, wasn't it? King 810, of course, from Flint, Michigan. Their Memoirs of a Murderer album was quite a kind of big deal to a lot of people, featuring the songs like I Killed That Man, I'm Gonna Do a Murder, and MURDER, Murder and Stuff. So they're just three of the songs off the top of my head that I can remember from that album. But this year doesn't seem to be so big in terms of big releases for debut albums. People get excited about new bands, but there has been a few. So what I'm going to do in this video is just give you five. In fact, actually, I'm going to give you 5 albums and 1 EP, because the one album that I can't talk about is being reviewed in next month's Metal Hammer magazine, and I've written a review for that. So I haven't been told, no, you can't talk about those albums, but I'm just trying to be professional. So I will say Faith Killer by Extinction AD, featuring former members of This Is Hell, is a great, if you like thrash metal, pretty Teutonic, extreme, old school thrash metal, then that is a really good album. But buy next month's issue of Metal Hammer magazine for a full and more frank lowdown than I'm going to give you here. So I'm going to pick 4 albums and 1 EP that are debut albums from 2015, which I think are the best of the year so far. But before that, I'm going to have a sip of tea. It's not the Robinson's drink, because the sun's gone in today, so I thought, Anyway, the first one I'm going to talk about, which is a debut album which I like, is something which might surprise people, and is definitely the most high-profile album of this list, and it is the debut album from Danny Worsnop, formerly of Asking Alexandria, his new project, We Are Harlot. That's the album there. Now, this isn't really the sort of thing that I usually would listen to, but for those of you who may or may not know, I do some stuff for Team Rock Radio. I have been doing that for the last year and a bit and whatever. And I wouldn't say rediscovered my love of straight ahead rock music, but I found a newfound tolerance for straight ahead, quite cheesy rock music, and that is what you get with We Are Harlot. I didn't really expect to like it very much, but actually I found this. I wasn't going to get this album, but I did found it. Most people who work at Team Rock don't really like music; they don't bother listening to new stuff. So there's always loads of CDs lying around the office, which I kind of snaffle up. So I took this just out of pure curiosity, and it's really good. It's good obviously in an old school 80s glam rock sort of silly way. It's really, really good, but people sort of said, it's very retro and it doesn't really bring anything new to the table. I think it kind of does, actually. I think the 4th track on it, Denial, has got a lot of kind of Danny's old school beatdown metalcore, more brutal vocals in it, and I've never really heard that mixture between that really kind of amped up. I know the bands who had like Atreyu, who had sort of flashes of glam rock in their sound before, but I've never really heard those two merge, where it starts as a glam song and then goes into a more metalcore thing. And all the songs are really catchy. It's not going to change a lot. I mean, this is not, this is never going to be the Tool or anything, but it's decent. I think it's really good, and it's a fun album in the summer. It's a part I've been playing quite a lot because it's kind of a party album. It'll get you G'd up, and it will make you feel just feel happy. It's all right to feel happy now and again. Just now and again, though, of course. Moving on to something which I think is genuinely, really fantastically brilliant. I've seen this band 3 times this year. I've seen them supporting Hawkeyes, I've seen them at Camden Rocks, and I saw them at the launch party for this album. This is Vultures by Goddamn. This is a British 2-piece, 2 brothers. I think they're from Wolverhampton or somewhere in the Midlands. And I want to call it grunge, kind of post-grunge. But then when you think of post-grunge, you immediately think of Bush or Nickelback or something like that, and this couldn't be further away from Bush or Nickelback. This is really visceral, hard-edged, shouty, screamy, quite brutal sounding music. It reminds me a lot of the Melvins. When the Melvins signed to a major, I love the Melvins, but I must admit sometimes the Melvins, even for me, are a little bit too whackety schmackety, as my old friend Gil from the Metal Hammer podcast would say. And I like the Melvins when they were on a major label, and people were sort of going, can you just write some songs? And Goddamn kind of do that. They kind of do the loud Bleach era grunge thing, but with really big choruses, and it's a great record. And they've got what I think the most exciting thing about Goddamn. I mean, if you get a chance to see them live, they are absolutely incredible live. They make so much for a 2-piece. They make an absurd amount of noise, and they've just got a really good grasp and a really good understanding and a real want to use dynamics within their music. Like, they really kind of the quiet bits are so quiet and the loud bits are so loud. I think the title track on this, Vultures, is so loud. It's like this kind of Melvins meets country steel guitar, slide guitar with just a ton of feedback. It's brilliant. It's really, really brilliant. Skeletons as well is another one which starts so quietly and so kind of, it just creeps up on you, and then when it explodes, it really, really explodes. They've taken the kind of the Mogwai school of loud, quiet dynamics. That is a great record, but really you need to see them live. If you get a chance to see Goddamn live, go and see Goddamn live. Another band who I've seen live a few times this year and who are excellent are these guys. They're called Employed to Serve. They call themselves a post-hardcore band. They're from Woking, another British band. The album's called Greyer Than You Remember. I don't know why they call themselves a post-hardcore band, because this is nasty, spiteful music in the same vein as Botch and Converge and the Hope Conspiracy and those kind of early 2000s, late 90s metallic hardcore bands that were very artistically minded and very, if you like the last Code Orange album, or maybe the not Iron King, the one before that, the one that's got less of the kind of sludgy stuff in it. This is just a real teeth rattling hardcore record as far as I'm concerned. It's everything that I, as a kind of a massive hardcore zealot, I love this type of music, and I don't like people just doing kind of versions of it which are just like, oh, we love Converge, so we'll just do something a bit like them. This really lends something new to the party. Most of it really is there's a kind of dual vocal. The guitarist, whose name I don't know, he does a lot of vocals, but the lead vocalist, Justine, who I actually spoke to again next month from Metal Hammer, there'll be a little piece about them and their influences. She was talking to me about how much she was influenced by bands like Neurosis when they were writing this, and it's just an unusual, heavy album. Again, the dynamics in this record are brilliant. Track 5, No One's Perfect, This Includes You, is an assault on the ears. Great record. If you like things that are brutal and raw and nasty and just 100 miles an hour all the time, great record. This is the EP. I'm going to do the final album in a minute. But the EP, this is quite new. This is only a 4-track EP. They're a band I don't know anything about really. They're called Bellevue Days, but this came through the post the other day. It's a 4-track EP. I believe it's their debut one. And again, not really the sort of thing that I would be known for listening to, but this is really, really brilliant. It reminds me, about when I was about 21, 22, I really loved emo. And I don't mean emo as in paint your fingernails black and sing about vampires and sort of sit in the bedroom writing poetry. I mean emo as in the sort of J-Tree, post-hardcore influenced emo that, if you know what emo is when I say emo, then you'll know what I'm talking about. If you think I mean, Avenged Sevenfold, then I don't, and I don't have time to explain it here. But basically, this is almost like kind of, I guess, Game Face with a little bit of Spy versus Spy. There's not many people watching this that will understand those references. So I guess Jimmy Eat World mixed with Fugazi. It's kind of American college rock style power pop, but with a lot more intelligence and a lot more different song structures. It kind of goes for sort of post rock sound mixed with big Biffy Clyro or Foo Fighters style choruses. I know that sounds like a weird mix, but really that's what kind of emo is. You know, it's lo-fi. It's the sort of thing you might hear on an indie movie soundtrack, something like Juno. You know, like that kind of thing. It's got touches of Sonic Youth, but then touches of Jimmy Eat World, bits of Weezer, bits of Game Face, bits of Garrison. It's really great, and it's just, you know, it was good to hear that people were making music under the name of emo, if that's what they call themselves. I have no idea. In that sort of vein, that's really good. The final one, I don't actually have a CD for it, so I'm gonna have to look at it on my phone. Look at it. We got a cracked screen on my phone. Look, you can see it cracked. Awful. Fell over running. Pathetic. But this album is by a band, an Irish three-piece called Murdoch. The album's called Dead Lung. It's out on Basic right now. Now, as soon as I say it's out on Basic, you're probably immediately going to go, okay, well, I know exactly what it's going to be. You don't, trust me. It's not that genty sort of thing. You know, it's not Hacktivist or, you know, Monuments or Veil of May or anything like that. It's really, really different. I think that's great. I always like Basic. I think the guys that work there are really nice. I think they're really passionate about the type of music they put out. But I did wonder, you know, have they kind of painted themselves into a corner now that the gent thing is seemingly run its course. But if they're signing bands like Murdoch, then so I'll just press play on my phone. If they're signing bands like Murdoch, I think that's a really good indicator for where they're going to go. This album is all over the place. I mean, you would never believe it's a three-piece. I saw these guys who did support Monuments recently, and I saw them, and they were really, really excellent. Particularly the drummer. They've got the best drummer. He's like Russell Simmons from the John Spencer Blues Explosion, like big hair, making funny faces. He's quite a fat bloke. I hope he doesn't mind me saying he's a fat bloke, but he's quite a large, heavy-set gentleman, and he just smashes his kit. And it's like, I actually reviewed this album in Metal Hammer. I gave it a glowing review, and I compared it to Trap Them playing along, getting drunk and playing along to Calculate Infinity by Dillinger Escape Plan. And that is that's it in a nutshell, really. Again, if you buy next month's Metal Hammer magazine, there's a welcoming piece about the band, and really interesting guy. I've forgotten the lead singer's name. I apologise, but he's a really, really interesting guy. And he said, you know, like we nothing's too heavy and nothing's too quiet. That's our only rule. So there's bits in here of like jazz. There's bits of like Dillinger kind of mathcore. There's bits of death metal. There's bits of like really kind of emotive. There's bits of like ambient, almost Aphex Twin style. Ambient little passages and blips and blops all over the place. It's really, really eclectic, brilliant record, but ultimately it's a scuzzy, nasty album playing this kind of very dense, very complicated type of music. And I think, obviously, they're never going to sell any records because they're far, far too extreme. But you know, if there's any justice in the world, then they'd sell loads of records, but I don't think it's going to happen. Anyway, those are 5 albums and 1 EP. I know I didn't really talk about the first album, but I can't. Those are 5 albums and 1 EP, which I believe are the best debut records to be released this year. Here comes Bonjour. Do you want to see Bonjour? Come near, Bonji. Oh, look, there she is. Bonjour. Oh. Anyway, I'm probably going to put a video up tomorrow, either reviewing the new Lamb of God album, or the new Soulfly album, or the new Between the Buried and Me album. Put something in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Heard any good debut albums this year that I haven't heard? Whack them in there. See you later, innit? Bye.